Hi, I'm in a theatre today because I'm talking about presentation skills, and what better place to talk about presentation skills than a stage. And today I want to talk about opening presentation techniques and tips and hacks that we can use to start a presentation well. Every book on presenting I've ever read has suggested start with a bang. What's interesting though is often the same book will not suggest that within the internal subsections or body of a presentation we need to go back and use the same hacks again. Not always the same ones, but we need to, and I do this religiously, if there are 3 major sections in a 15-minute presentation I'm delivering, I will start each subsection with a really cool, I call it a reopening technique. I don't do what some of the books and experts suggest, which is just start the first 10 seconds well and then just talk, you know, in a fairly practical, technical way for the rest of the business presentation, maybe end with a bang. No, keep going back and, you know, peppering your presentation throughout with amazingly evocative, entertaining techniques and tips, which means you need a whole bunch of them up your sleeve. Now, I'm going to show you a presentation that I'm to deliver in about a week's time. Now, I'm not going to show the entire presentation. What I'm going to do is show you over 25 ways that I can actually start the presentation off. I'm just going to show you the first 10, 15 seconds. Sometimes I'll talk for a little bit longer to land the technique. But in general, they're all opening strategies. But I cannot stress enough, I could use any of those strategies again 2, 3, 10, 13 minutes in the presentation to kick off a new subsection. And I strongly suggest that's what you do. So welcome to me talking about one of my bits of IP, the 3 types of time. Now, what you can see as I talk is the model itself. I'm not going to unpack the model for you. That's another video, another day. But what I'm going to do is just get you to take in that model enough so that you can use it to see where I'm going with each of my 20 odd techniques I'm about to show you. Now, you'll note most of the time I'm not talking directly about my subject as I open the presentation about that subject. That's something that good presenters usually avoid doing. We often launch into a presentation with a very general take. It's almost as if we're inviting the audience mentally into a world within which our topic is just a part. That being said, welcome to Over 25 Ways to Start Off an Awesome Presentation. Hands up if you've ever written out a to-do list for a single day and not completed it. So the number one reason I work hard in the time and priority space is to make sure that my clients and myself get the most out of a single working day and then line up those days to create an amazing single working week that down the track becomes an amazing single working month. Who here still uses paper to write out a daily to-do list? See, I still do that. But here's the thing. Whether it's paper or electronic or even just in your head, you got to get it right. Did you know, right now, the research suggests the average person is only 60% productive at work? Okay, quick survey. Who here has ever picked a task off their to-do list, got stuck in, got started, and then been interrupted by a phone call or an email? Just any, yep. Who here doesn't use a to-do list? No, okay, so most do, all right. Show of hands. Paper? Electronic? Head? So, 15 years ago, before I started looking a lot at time and priority management, I was a bit of a mess. I don't know about you. I felt guilty all of the time about any task that was left on my to-do list. It would affect my sleep. I'd wake up at 3 in the morning and think, oh, I've got that thing to do tomorrow. And just thinking about that thing to do tomorrow actually meant I couldn't go to sleep and get to tomorrow. I'm about to spend 15 minutes with you talking about a subject that I'm still far from perfect at. I mean, even to call myself a time and priority management expert isn't quite accurate. Really, I'm just someone who's read a lot of books on time and priority management and does his level-headed best to make it through a day, trying to practice as many of the things that I've read and researched as I possibly can. Okay, so I know this subject to some people might be a little bit dry, others a little bit triggering, so let's all just close our eyes, take a few deep breaths. Let's start with some imagining. I want you to imagine a day where you've written the perfect to-do list, just the right amount of tasks that will fit in to your busy, conflictuous schedule. And I want you to imagine completing that last task and picking up that pencil and putting that strike through the last task on your list as you look up and go, 4:59. Well done. So what if I told you that every single person I've ever coached and trained in time management has missed something that is actually essential to know? You know, someone just before asked me, what am I here to talk about? And I always think it's a funny question because I'm not here to talk about anything. I'm here for something far more profound. I mean, God, if just talking at you was the point, I could talk about anything, right? No, what I'm here to do is to change your mind on how to manage your time. Okay, so I have a confession to make. And I tallied this morning before I came in here. I am only really good at around 65% of the content, the models and the ideas and tips and hints that I'm about to share with you. But that's why I'm so passionate about this particular area of work. Okay, so here's something I bet you didn't know. Most people with a job description are not checking in regularly with that job description to see if it's still current or to recalibrate their current decisions around tasking and prioritization against it. Psychologists, psychiatrists have tried to prove in recent times that multitasking is a great thing for the modern mind. And every test they've tried to prove that multitasking is awesome actually only proves the opposite. If you want to achieve mediocre outcomes, multitask. Why is it that just thinking about tasks triggers anxiety? And what does that anxiety do to our ability to actually complete those tasks? I work in the time and priority space because I know the truth. We are humans, and humans are subjective. Humans are imperfect. And that means it's a bottomless pit of work for me because you can do 10, 20 years on becoming perfect at time and priority management, but there will still be something you'll be working on. Money for me, solutions for you, happy days. Okay, so hands up. How many of you are really great at tasking? Once you get cracking on a task, you just smash it out. Great. How many of you, on the other hand, are great task choosers who has that innate ability to know exactly what task to pick at any one time based on what their role means to the organisation or their customers? Great. More hands. Who's great at both? Oh, way less hands. And that's why we're here today. So I'm going to start by telling you what I'm not today. I'm not a magician. I'm not going to magically make your life better. I'm not going to make your anxiety around all those tasks you're yet to complete today magically disappear. In fact, here's the truth. Time and priority management is all about incremental development rather than giant, miraculous, white light experience leaps forward. So I was out the other night meeting new people, and one of them asked me what I did for a living. And maybe it's because I've been watching some Simon Sinek videos lately. I thought about the why of what I do for a living, not the what. And instantaneously, with the idea of why I do what I do in my head, I responded, I help people find ways to de-stress and lower their level of anxiety so as to release more competence. Thank you. Boy, I wish I was perfect at time and priority management, and that's why I'm here today, to tell you how perfect I was. But can I tell you, all it takes is one surprise at the wrong time for me to forget everything I've trained other people in, every book I've ever read, all the self-improvement that I've done just vanishes. As soon as that phone call rings at 7:35, it's my mum telling me her 97-year-old husband, my stepfather, has had a fall. Now, she's in Geelong, I'm in Albury-Wodonga. All I can do is take the call, offer support, do whatever I can, but emotionally, it's just created a cacophony. I'm surprised I'm here this afternoon. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Because this whole area of work is not about being great. And once you're great, it's not like being a brain surgeon. Once you're a good brain surgeon, well, you're kind of expected to always be one. With time and priority management, it's a day by day, minute by minute, moment by moment proposition. Do you remember when you were a kid? I don't know if they still have this. The Neapolitan ice cream was a chocolate, vanilla and strawberry. Yeah? Now, did you all have a favourite? What were your favourites? I'm hearing lots of chocolate. I love the person who's in the minority because they always scream, strawberry! Well, I want to talk to you about another set of three. The three types of time. So every time I come to talk about the three types of time, I travel back in my life to when I was still at Teachers College, and I didn't really need to know this model, where I got paid to go to college. I was on a living from home allowance. I really loved my classes. I was doing what I was passionate about. I'd just fallen in love. The three types of time, didn't need them. Cut to being 61. So, I'd like you to turn to the person next to you and just share with them your number one fear. Safely. If you don't want to, that's fine. But if you can, please. It always starts with some sort of nervous, quiet chatting, and then it goes ballistic. Suddenly it's like group therapy. Okay, great. Thank you. How many of you shared not getting through your daily to-do list? Okay, not one person. Yeah, we have bigger fears, right? But how many of you just felt a little tinge of anxiety by me even raising the subject? I've done a lot of research over at least 2 decades to determine something so simple, so holistic. And when I started offering it to the groups that I train, the people whom I coach, I could see it was instantly something that they needed to connect with. Everybody please raise your hands high above your head and keep them there until you hear the right number. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about how many numbers of hours of tasks are on your daily to-do list. 1. All right, everyone's hands are up. 2. Who's got 3 hours of tasks on their daily to-do list? 4. Oh, hands are dropping. A lot of hands still up. Who's got 5 hours of tasks on their daily to-do list? 6. 7. Who's got more than 8? There are still some hands. Please, thank you. Yeah, so how many of you have heard of what I'm here to talk to you about today? My model, the 3 types of time. Great, that's why I need to be here to talk to you today. I went to redundancy counselling. I was about to ask everybody here, who's been to redundancy counselling? But, maybe you wouldn't want to put your hands up to that question. I went. The way I figure, I like talking about myself so much that I would have paid the counsellor to hear me talk about me, but he was being paid to listen, and hey, I loved it. So I went along and we did what we call a career anchors. I will ask you this, who's done the career anchor quiz? Man, it changed my life. More than DISC, more than Myers-Briggs. It's a why you work quiz. Why do I work? Having done the quiz, it turned out I need to run my own business and innovate and experiment, but not grow the business. Be a single operator, he said. Keep doing what you're doing, working your craft, but do it as a consultant where someone's going to pay you to come up with brand new ideas. And that was like hearing magic for the first time. That was like falling in love with my wife for the first time. I fell in love with work because he showed me a way to do it. And I hope all of you have found that for yourselves. But I'm here to talk about the result of that session that day. New IP that I've been able to develop for my clients, called the 3 types of time.